All right, welcome back. This topic, we're going to be having discussion all the way from economy. We're going to talk about tourism development. Huge and crucial. I'm sure very few of you know that this year is International Year for Sustainable Tourism Development. But then, sort of like this discussion, because suddenly it's going to be looking at one of Nigeria's biggest resources, which is its numbers of youth. Over 180 million people in this country, majority of them are youths, and is Nigeria's biggest resource. In case you do not know, Nigerians scattered across the length and breadth of this world, and of course, more importantly, many of them involved in entertainment also too. Very few people also realize that this aspect of Nigeria's development is what has contributed greatly to Nigeria's GDP being the biggest in the continent, and also contributed greatly also to revenues that come into this country and also from outside this country. Noah Dallaji is a youth innovator. It's a pleasure to have him join us this morning, and also intrigued to know that sort of has the UN's theme tied to exactly what he plans to be doing. Great to have you join us. But first and foremost, tell us what you think about tourism development and the participation of youths in this country.
Thank you. I think first of all, we are talking about tourism development. Sometimes we got it wrong. I mean, many people thought this is just something that people have to travel to do this, does not add value to anything. But if you look at what is happening this year, the international community has embraced tourism as one of the agenda for this year United Nations General Assembly, and to tell you how important tourism development is to the world. So I think it's very important for the government of every nation to key in and give more emphasis on tourism, because it's driving the economy sector of every nation faster, because the youth actually are the drivers. You know, when you use the youth on the tourism, and you get a lot of ideas, and you share a lot of innovation, and then it makes the economies of the country to move forward. I mean, talking about entertainment and other things. Those guys travel and saw a lot of things that need to be brought here in the country or in their own countries, you know, because we're talking about international. So we are not just referring to Nigeria, but we are using our country as a point of contact, you know. So it's very important, it's huge. So I'm saying this because most time we neglect some of these things. We think it's not something that is needed, but I'm telling you, tourism is a huge is a big booster that every nation needs.
Now, talking about neglect, I'd like us to pay attention to that. Now, previously before now, when the Nigeria was at a stronger place, holidays were spent outside Nigeria. People hop on the plane, go wherever you want to go and enjoy the tourism benefits of wherever they're at. Now, let's talk about the benefits in Nigeria. Does Nigeria have a strong base for developing tourism? Do we have what it takes?
Oh yes, we have more than what it takes in Nigeria. Nigeria as a nation on its own is an institution, you see. We have everything it takes in this country to become the world power economy. We have everything that it takes. The numbers of talent we have in Nigeria is amazed me sometimes when I sit down and I look at what we have here in this country. And most of these people came into Nigeria. Okay, let's talk about African countries now. Most of the African countries look up to Nigeria when it comes to talent. Look at the Nollywood. We're talking about Nollywood, the third biggest movie industry in the world. Most of these people came to Nigeria to see what they can pick also and take to their country. And some of this thing is, I mean, it's adding to the economy of Nigeria, so it's a development also to this country. Just like, I'm sure we'll talk about it very soon, what we are planning to do recently in Port Harcourt on the 8th. So Nigeria is one of the, in Africa, one of the nations that I believe that should be able to develop more than any other country in tourism because of what we have in the country.
Now let's look at the drive of tourism in line with working with young people. I know you work with young people in trying to develop their potentials in line with tourism. Let's look at that perspective.
Yeah, what we are trying to do is, for example, this year program we have the one we're going to have the final in Port Harcourt the winners are traveling with us to the US. Now, traveling with these young people is not giving them anything, but it's like kind of exposure, and then also let them see something to add to the knowledge they have, see what they can add and bring it down to this country, and incorporate other people also. Otherwise, we will have said, okay, the winners, you win a contract of money for maybe if you are a musician, you're doing your music here in Nigeria. So why do you talk about the traveling? It's because of the tourism sector of it this year. Now, traveling to the UN, you meet to get some other people coming from other countries, get some ideas, rub mind together, and pick up some other ideas that you can bring it down home here and develop it for the nation building.
I've been to the UN General Assembly, the UN headquarters in New York, and I'm sure it'll be a great experience for anyone who wins this, and then probably get the opportunity on the side event of the General Assembly, you have an opportunity to represent the country. But before we get into much more of the details, let's watch this report by Segun Ojomu. He did this report on tourism development, I think a couple of weeks ago in July, I understand. I think it's pertinent to the discussion, so we'll listen to this and then we'll come back and continue the discussion with Mr. Dallaji.
In the year 2016, tourism contributed $7.9 trillion to the global economy. For China in the same year, domestic tourism raked in over $560 billion. This sector, for all its obvious potentials, contributes less than 5% to Nigeria's GDP. A huge disappointment. The Nigerian Tourism Development Corporation is saddled with turning around the fortunes of the sector. In order to do just that, it says it is set to launch an ambitious initiative. Its plan, if it works, will boost domestic tourism. In rolling out this plan, the corporation has chosen this symbolic site, the Jabi Lake.
The brand is an ambitious attempt at promoting tourism in Nigeria that aims to shape the narrative on Nigeria as a major destination for tourism, hospitality, arts and entertainment in Africa.
A 5-point roadmap is at the heart of this initiative. Some of its key components are infrastructure development and finance. All these points and more have been taken care of. But is the confident Nigerians trying to eke out a living will book a holiday trip?
This is the best time to tour Nigeria because you can definitely not go to Dubai. This is whether you like it or not, we still move around. The kind of movement everybody focuses on is, I fly business class on this airline to this city. No.
The tourism model Mr. Coker envisions is one which focuses less on culture, but more on other aspects of Nigeria's tourism, food, music, fashion, and religion. He believes the executive orders aimed at making it easier to do business in Nigeria will help his corporation deliver on his promise. One challenge that must be addressed, however, by the federal government is security. That could well be the trump card that determines if citizens indeed tour Nigeria or not. Segun Ojomu, STV News.
Excellent report there. Back to you, sir. I know you've been involved in works, the UN 2012 Rio Summit on Sustainable Development Goal. You tied to work with the youth, and the same thing you're trying to achieve with this same goal on sustainable development tourism, and also together with the youths of this country to look at it. I know it's such a huge task, but tell us the goal, the idea. Say you're going to have a program, for example, or project that will showcase the youths and then have the opportunity attend a side event at the UN General Assembly. What exactly are you seeking to achieve?
Well, our NGO is out there to promote the youth of this nation in particular. We're talking about the African Children Talent Discovery Foundation. It's an international organization, and we have been organizing a side event, like I told you, for the UN. We have done it in 2012 in Brazil. Now, every year before going to the General Assembly, we have our own program here in Nigeria. And that is the one we are planning to have in Port Harcourt on the 8th. This year is titled Unleash Your Talent 2017, ACTDF. Now, what we do is we have done about 9 state auditions, and we pick three winners from every state, and they will go to Port Harcourt and compete themselves. At the end of the day, we'll have 3 winners, one in music, one in dancing, then one in acting. Now, each of these winners will go home with a contract of 1 million naira and some cash prizes. And also the 3 winners will be in the United Nations. That's where the tourism now came in. Just to see how we can key in with this year United Nations team. So the essence of doing all this is to incorporate these young people. If you see some of these symptoms of sadness or hopelessness, around the world, youth are very angry because nothing is happening after everything coming out from the school. You have the good result, but you don't have the job to do, and that's why today we're having issues of insecurities in this country. Many of them are frustrated. Nothing is coming their way. But one thing they forgot is you have better things that you can actually do to also be an institution yourself. And that thing is the talent we're talking about. Now, take for example, in Port Harcourt, we were able to get the winner of the music side. Automatically, he has been developed. That's why the slogan is search, discover, and empower. So it's another thing to discover somebody, but if you don't develop him, it could always be a waste. So what we're trying to do is to give them hope, not just hope, and to give them a platform to see how they can develop their talent and become somebody also in life. And if you look at what is happening, just like in the Big Brother aspect of it, giving a platform for the young people, and some of them today are celebrities. Because now without those platforms, those guys wouldn't have been where they are today. So this is what we are doing, and this is what we have been doing for a long time, and this is what we'll continue to be doing.
All right, I have 2 questions for you. First, the age range of the people the young people, the youths that you hope will participate in this competition, and having to tie tourism to our talents back here at home. Now, a lot of people, we've seen talents being exported to other parts of the world. Our music is popular in other parts of the world. They like our music. Even our videos are getting some prominence. They enter film competitions. Some of them come home doing remarkably well. So tell us more about this exporting talent as tourism.
First of all, the age bracket we're talking about is from 18 to 35 years. That's the age range for this year. We have gotten those one already, and even though we have so many problems because some of them are calling, my child is good and he's 8 years, he's this and that and that. So there's nothing like we are not just trying to leave those one behind, but their time is coming. These things are based on segment by segment by segment. Now, tying this to tourism, as you asked, you rightly say just now that our musicians are doing well, their video well, but people get to like it and all this. Now you see, tourism on its own is talent. Tourism is part of education. Tourism is knowledge also. Now, without tourism, I'm sure that wouldn't have been Nigeria today. And without tourism, that wouldn't have been most of these things that we're using today. They are still down here connecting to Port Harcourt, connecting to Abuja, connecting to other places. All those things came as a result of tourism. If you look at all the people who create things, innovate so many things, they just do it like that. They do research. You cannot do research in Nigeria alone. That's why if they want to film a movie or something, they want to travel to America to have a video there, they want to travel to this, to do that. Sometimes ago, I have it on the news that the government want to ban the shooting movie. For me, it's wrong, because these guys are making this country proud, and they are doing something that they are representing Nigeria from different sectors of this country, and from the bad side of this country that people always talk about. So people are seeing something good about Nigeria. So, this is a Nigerian guy doing well there. Today you see a lot of collaboration they have with the foreign. We are proud. When you are watching the video, you say, no, this is a Nigerian, and you are happy. So what they are trying to do is to see how they can move the country's name forward, and also how they can develop their own, and giving also other people hope. You look at this one doing well, you want to do it also tomorrow. You want to travel. So most of them have shot many videos outside this country. And I think it's something that we should encourage them.
Let's look at domestic tourism. We're trying to promote that. In that report, it says the major challenge is really insecurity, you know, in different parts of the country where there's insecurity. What can be done? What are the challenges of, you know, getting or ramping up domestic tourism?
Well, that's the problem we're having, and that's why the STV Unleash Your Talent 2017 now came in. Because, you see, some of these youth who are engaging themselves in some of these negative things of the insecurity we're talking about, just like I tell you rightly, it's because of anger and frustration, and then, you know, somebody is pushed to the wall and start to think of, okay, what do I need to do? Let me start kidnapping people. Let me start doing this. Let me join this set of Boko Haram. Let me do all this kind of thing. But believe me, those guys, if they know there is something, if you know today, you have the hope of representing your community in the National Assembly or something, you will do everything to guide yourself toward this direction coming. Even if it's going to take you 10 years to come, which means you have hope that something is going to come. But if the situation where there is no hope in anywhere, then you become you become frustrated, and then you start thinking about other things. Now, if you look at how we do our audition in the 9th state, I make sure if you are from the north, you don't go to the north to do it. For example, we're working with most of the quite a number of Nollywood people. Some of them who are from the south go to the north and do the audition. Some of them who are from the east go to the west and do the audition. Now, we're trying to see how we can bring ourselves together, you know, irrespective of our ethnic background and religious background and all that, just to see how we can move this country forward. And even at the judges, at the grand finale, those who has participated in the audition, none of them was going to be part of the judges. So we brought a different set of people who has not met these people. Me in particular, I don't know any of these guys who has won to be in Port Harcourt for the grand finale. I'm going to be there also as a spectator to see what they're going to do. So in the domestic area here in the country, we are trying to see how we can project and promote people coming together. You know, whether you're from the north, whether you're from the south, the thing is that we're Nigerian. Right. And the moment we know that, then this country will move forward.
Right. As we bring the discussion to a close, Noah Dallaji, tell me something. We made mention of the fact you're a private individual, civil society. Now, this is just one actor in the entire script. You have the role of the government. I know a number of people who say that it is the government's responsibility, for example, to drive tourism forward. And the reason why we are where we are is because the government hasn't put enough into the tourism industry to push it forward. Do you think it's the government's responsibility, or you think other people have roles also to perform to ensure? What sort of collaboration are you getting from the government, for example, in the work you're doing?
I think it's everybody's responsibilities. If you're a businessman, it's your responsibility to go outside the country and get businesses in this country. The entertainment industry are doing their own. The government has a role, of course, the biggest role to do it, but we can't just sit down, and that's why we're having problems in Nigeria today. We can't just sit down and say, okay, if the government did not do it, then let me just go back and sit down. No, if you do that, you are not doing it for the government, you are doing it for yourself, and you're doing it for the country. So for me, collectively, we all have a responsibility to go out there and look at those things that we can do and bring them. That's if you have the opportunity to do that. You know, that's why I did mention big businessmen who they are doing it. For example, people like Aliko Dangote, they have a lot of businesses around the world. You know, it's part of tourism, and they are giving a lot of, they are boosting some of the economy of those countries. So if you look at it, it's not because of him. Many of people in these other countries don't have gotten a job today. So thanks to the Nigerian businessman who has come to establish something. Also bringing something from there, come and establish it here in Nigeria. So we all have responsibilities.
Yeah. Thank you very much. Thank you very much, Noah Dallaji.
Thank you.
Youth Innovator, unleash your talent. Port Harcourt, everything is going to be going down. Of course, we look out for what happens afterwards. Of course, you update us on the side event, the UN General Assembly, where the representatives of this country will have the opportunity to also see push forward the tourism potentials of this great nation. Noah Dallaji, thank you very much, sir, for coming Sure, that goes a wrap to the show for today. Have a great show. Big match coming up 6 p.m. I see everyone's talking about it on social media.
We must win.
Yeah,
We don't have a choice.
You know, I was going to. I did bring out that video. The video we had where we had the discussion. Zika was sitting down there, and Zika said that, what if Cameroon beats us 5-1?
So we don't win the
I said
20.
it's not possible. Cameroon can't do that. So you see, I'm vindicated because that game ended 4-0.
You told people
So
not to
5-1,
watch.
4 goals. So who's going to predict something today?
So what are you going to predict? What are you predicting?
If I remember
What was your
correctly,
prediction?
You advised people not to
I
watch.
predict Nigeria is going to the World Cup after today's thing.
Okay.
Any prediction?
We're going to the World Cup.
The World Cup. Noah Dallaji, any prediction?
Oh yes, Nigeria will beat Cameroon today.
How many?
2-0.
Okay, so we'll have this on record. So tomorrow, if it happens and it doesn't happen,
Good.
we'll say I'm surprised Zika sat there. Maybe that seat is the prediction seat. So let's watch
Okay,
out
so
for that
let's
game
watch
and see if we get the prediction. 2-0, you said Nigeria will win.
Yes.
Zika said 5-1, Cameroon will win. So let's hope it doesn't swap again. All right. Have
you so
yourself.
much.
Thank you
A
very
beautiful
much.
day. Bye for now.